Happy Friday, even if it is Friday the 13th. Don't take any candy from anybody with a hockey mask and a machete today. That would be bad. Okay, so this is in case you missed American history for November 13th. It's been exactly 8 months since you've actually had class inside of school, which is pretty crazy to think about. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about. Okay, so we got a lot of different things to do today, so I want to make sure and use your time wisely today. So we did a little bit of trivia. The juniors and seniors requested Christmas movie trivia today. I threw them a curveball. I asked them a question about Die Hard because I think Die Hard's a Christmas movie because, well, it happens at a Christmas party. Then we went through the one slide of notes that we're doing today. And I talked about a couple different topics. I shared the quiz link with everybody. And if you're watching this from Google Classroom, the quiz link is going to be with this. And then gave them time to finish the assignment that's due tonight by midnight. So if you're one of the people that doesn't have that done yet, please make sure and get that done as soon as possible. That would be awesome. Be checking your grades at Infinite Campus. Teachers are starting to enter things. You know, we're 2 weeks in. So hopefully there's starting to be some things in there that you can take a look at. So anyway, not to waste a bunch of your time. Like I said, we got one slide to look at. Okay, here we go. So obviously, so far we've talked a lot about Johnson and Congress. Obviously, there are those three big questions that needed to be solved during Reconstruction. Who's going to be in control? What are we going to do with the southern states? And what rights and freedoms should the freedmen get? And we've kind of been focusing in on this, who's going to be in control. And I think we kind of have addressed the fact that Johnson and Congress don't get along for various reasons. If you're unclear about that, you can go back and watch actually the last 2 days worth of videos, and you'll kind of start to get the answer. But today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the final round between Johnson and Congress. And so we've kind of hit a place with Johnson and Congress where their relationship is very broken. They are not getting anything done together. Johnson is a Democrat from the South. The radical Republicans from the North don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, including the goals of what Reconstruction is about. Johnson has vetoed a couple of really important laws that Congress has sent him. Congress has taken their fight for full equality further for the freedmen by passing the 14th Amendment, which gave citizenship to the freedmen, freedwomen. But now things are going to hit their head. There's going to be a knockout blow thrown in this round, and so here we go. So obviously, every few years there are elections, and members of Congress, if you're a member of the House of Representatives, you get elected every 2 years. If you're a member of the Senate, you get elected every 6. So a bunch of the Republicans who are up for re-election in Congress are not fans of Johnson, and Johnson does not like them. And so Johnson goes out and he campaigns against them. Now, you've got to take in mind that in the 1860s, 1870s, politics were a lot different than today. I don't think there was as much, they call it mudslinging, where one candidate just says a bunch of bad stuff about the other one. I think there was probably mudslinging, but I think in the 1860s, I think there was probably more focus on, hi, I'm Chris Seepin, this is what I can do for you, rather than, hi, I'm Chris Seepin, here's why that guy sucks. And so people didn't react to that very positively. And obviously the people supported the radical Republicans in their wish to get rid of slavery, at least the ones that voted could. And so Johnson's pleas for those people to lose went unanswered. And actually the Republicans got a 2/3 majority in Congress. Now, if you paid attention yesterday, 2/3 majority in Congress, 2/3. Think. If you paid attention to the last couple of videos, what can they now do that would be a rarity? That's right. They can override a presidential veto. So what that means is if they send Johnson a law and he doesn't like it, he vetoes it, stamps it. No, I'm not signing this. It goes back to Congress. Now they can automatically vote to make anything a law without his signature. So if they wanted to make the national flag a picture of someone's butt, they could do it. If they wanted to make the nation's bird a robin, they could do it. If they wanted to, I don't know, give all black men the right to vote, they could do that too. And so what Congress decides to do as their first move is they decide to put their own plan into place. But now, without any opposition, they can put any plan that they want to in place. And so what they do is they pass a plan that's often referred to as radical Reconstruction or congressional Reconstruction. Sometimes I've heard it called radical congressional Reconstruction. Regardless, what happens in this plan is the South is broken up into 5 military districts. 5. Now you can see that map. I pointed the wrong way again. You can see that map down there in the corner that shows you what the 5 military districts were. Virginia was a district by itself. North Carolina and South Carolina were District 2. Florida, Georgia, and Alabama were District 3. Mississippi and Arkansas were 4. And 5 was Louisiana and Texas. Now notice Tennessee is not in that grouping. Tennessee was a southern state. Why is Tennessee not in the grouping? If you rewind back to yesterday, you'll remember that Tennessee was one of the states that approved the 14th Amendment. And so their star is back on the flag, and they are back to being part of the United States. So they're not part of the punishment. Now, if you want to get the federal troops to leave your state, I skipped ahead. In those military districts, there's a general who acts like the governor or the boss of that area. Also in there, the military acts like the police. They're there to protect the rights and freedoms of the freedmen, to make sure that the KKK isn't doing their thing, and basically to just keep the peace. Now, obviously, this goes to Johnson. He vetoes it. They sign it anyway, okay, and it overrides and it goes through. Now, part of the plan was that in order to get the military troops to leave your state and to be like Tennessee, to get your star back on the flag and become a united state again, okay, the big thing, get the troops to leave your state. You had to do the following things. You had to pass the 13th Amendment, free the slaves. You had to pass the 14th Amendment, make them citizens. And then the 15th Amendment, give men the right to vote regardless of color. Easy. Not so much, because a lot of the southern states didn't want to do that. They were willing to live in this situation if they had to in order to get things done. So Johnson keeps fighting. He keeps vetoing everything they send him. So they've override him anyway, but it slows things down. It's annoying. It's like a mosquito in the summer. It's gone, but it was still annoying. And it might have bit you enough to annoy you. But then Johnson figures out he has another power. Johnson can't fire elected officials. You can't walk into Senate and go, you, and you, out. You're fired. He can't do that, okay? But he can fire non-elected government officials. He can get rid of other people. And so he starts firing the generals that are in charge of the military districts and naming people who think more like him to the spots. And that causes a little bit of a ruckus. He starts to fire some of the people that Lincoln had put in place that Congress really liked. And that starts causing a ruckus. And so Congress passes the Tenure of Office Act. Okay. Now, unfortunately, and this is not the answer, when people see the word tenure, they think it has something to do with 10 years. I don't know why that's the case. All right. In this case, tenure means you've been doing a job long enough that you can't lose it for no reason. Okay. But here's what the Tenure of Office Act did. It said that Johnson couldn't fire any high-ranking officials without Senate's approval. Now think about that. They've already got an override on him. So his veto is useless. Now they're saying you can't fire anybody without us saying it's okay. Johnson goes, dang, man. I'm like handcuffed. I got no power. But Johnson does what a lot of you guys do. As soon as a rule gets passed or a law gets passed, some of you guys you'll poke at the rule. Poke. Now, why do you poke at the rule? Because you want to know what happens if you break it. You want to know if they say you got to be home by midnight. What happens if you get home at 12:05? What happens if you get home at 12:30? If they say that you can't do a certain thing, some of you guys you'll tiptoe the line because you want to know if the punishment is worth it. You want to know what the deal is. And so Johnson, he decides to be an annoyance, and he fires somebody, but he goes big. He fires his Secretary of War, the person that's in charge overall of all these military districts. And when Congress gets him on that one, they impeach him. Okay. Now, this word means something different than a lot of you guys think it means. A lot of people think impeach means the president is kicked out of office. That is not the case at all. All that really means is the president has broken a law, or any high-ranking elected official has broken a law, and so charges are brought against him. In the case of the president, when the president is impeached, he goes on trial in front of the 100 members of Senate. Now, they each give their case. Here's why he broke the law. People defend the president. Here's why he should still be president. If the president is found guilty, he is kicked out of office and the vice president would take over, and so on and so forth. If he is found not guilty, he goes on to be back to be the president. Well, it's a pretty hotly contested case. Johnson is found not guilty by, I think it's one vote. I'm pretty positive that I've read that in a few places, one vote. So he saves his butt by the narrowest of margins. Johnson spends the rest of his time as president being a yes man. He signs the laws. He goes along with what Congress says because he doesn't want to be the person that goes down in history as the guy who got kicked out of office. Now, just a brief thing before I let you guys go do your thing. There have been 3 presidents impeached. You had Johnson, obviously. You've had Clinton, and you had Donald Trump. We did have one president quit, Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon would have been impeached, and he would have gotten kicked out of office, most likely. I can't predict. I can't predict events that didn't happen. Now, regardless, this gets the North more of what they want. Puts the South in a spot where they've got to approve those rules, but that doesn't necessarily mean that anybody in power in the South is really following. Okay, so here's what I need. Right next to this in classroom, there is going to be a link for a form. I need you to go in there. I need you to take the 10-question quiz. I need you to do the best you can. I need you to hit submit. Okay, I'm going to grade those over the weekend, get those grades in the grade book for you. Then what you need to do is need to go back in to classroom and make sure that you have Reconstruction overview, which is due by midnight tonight done. If you have any questions on anything, I am always here to help. I will be on and off the internet all weekend, so if you need me over the weekend, I'm here for you. Have a great weekend. Find something interesting to do. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of the people around you. Happy Friday the 13th. If you don't know what that is, it totally missed on you.